Welcome, guys. Today is day 7, our halfway point in our 14 days of love, where you are going to manifest your specific person for Valentine's Day. And so today we are talking about the 3D, meaning absolutely nothing. We are going to have, as Neville Goddard would say, a complete denial of our senses. And as always, beginning every single video, we're always going to set that intention. So what I want you to comment down below is, I am in alignment with my desires, allowing them to manifest quickly. So I am in alignment with my desires, allowing them to manifest quickly. Comment that down below to really set that intention and get into the feeling, get into the state as you are watching this video. But as you know, there is absolutely nothing in your external reality that means anything in regards to your manifestation. There are no circumstances that matter. We touched on this in a previous video about the past. And always remember, there are things happening constantly behind the scenes, like in the video I did yesterday. Day 6, there is so much happening behind the scenes that we are not even aware of. That time has nothing to do with it. So the trick with manifesting and with actually achieving or doing anything in your reality is actually persisting regardless of what is happening around you. Because it doesn't matter what is happening. It doesn't matter if this or that isn't working out, because it's actually the focus on our end that is going to create and manifest exactly what we want. But I'll have more of that in our video for tomorrow. But I just want you to remember, think about it in this way. Two things and two states cannot take up the same place at the same time, okay? So when we are assuming or getting into the state, and then we allow things in our external reality to mess that up and change our mind, we are then in this struggle, okay? We are persisting in the end, and this is what Neville Goddard, Joseph Murphy would say, but we're also focusing on what we don't want. And so we end up in this confusion state because two states are not or cannot be expressed at the same time. And I want you to think about it in this way. In this state, we are going into our affirmations and feeling very loved, but then we're looking at our 3D and feeling the exact opposite. So we're like bouncing back and forth, which feels exhausting. But you cannot feel the feeling of loved and being unloved at the same time, or being a poor man or a wealthy man. All of that those can't be expressed at the same time. We must choose one. And so your reality is a previous reflection from a previous state. So what you're seeing outside of you isn't always necessarily exactly what we're assuming, even though it has this aspect where certain beliefs can be reflecting previously. But just remember them. Our subconscious must choose one of these states and exhibit them. So always be constantly choosing to be loved, constantly choose that feeling of love and abundance and happiness, because we do really have the choice. Now, we don't have to feel like toxically happy all the time. That's not something that we have to do. But we do have and totally can feel into our end state at any given moment. We are actively choosing our emotions. And when we actually, or the feelings and the knowingness, and when we actually know that, we're going to see things begin to change really quickly when we realize we are the ones choosing it. Because sometimes we can accidentally get into this mindset that other people, other things, and other events are actually in control of our emotions, but they are not. I've seen this happen a lot, and it ends up in a spiral or a cycle that we don't want. Whenever we put the burden of our feelings on our specific person or anything in our external reality, truly, you are at this very moment, regardless of what we're feeling, and it's okay if we're not feeling good, but you are choosing exactly what we're assuming and what we're believing every single step of the way. So just know that power. If you don't believe it fully right now, that's okay. But then remember as well, we're not putting this burden on our specific person, because it truly is not our specific person that's going to make us happy. It's kind of like, which sounds funny, but we are actually allowing ourselves to feel happy by getting our specific person, and we associate and can really have a synergistic energy with them in creating this love and abundance. So always focus on the feeling rather than anything else. But the reason that we actually focus on our 3D and why, because we know you're like, okay, Kyle, I know persistence and feeling into the end. That's obviously something we need to do. But why do I then look at the 3D? Okay. And there's a very simple answer to that outcome. And that's because we would actually, in our mind, rather have a negative outcome than an unknown outcome. Okay. And this is because we have this feeling, or our ego senses and needs control of our reality. And if you're still like, I don't really get this, this is actually the reason we look at our specific person's social media or assuming anything bad rather than the positive. We feel like we need to know rather than be in the unknown. And I'll give you an example that's going to prove this. So let's say you have a date this Friday with your specific person. Okay. So this Friday, you and your specific person are going to be together, going to dinner, going putt-putt, whatever, bowling, whatever it is that you want. Okay. But let's say you set that date. And then, so today, and then the next couple days, they don't respond to you. There's no contact. How do you feel? Okay. Are we feeling as if we are still going, or are we kind of worried? And what is the thought that's actually going to be going in your mind? You would probably be thinking, are we going? Are we not? Why can't they just tell me no so I can stop worrying about it? Right? That's what we're going to be thinking. But really, why? If we're like, why can't they just tell me no so I can stop worrying? Why are we guaranteeing the negative when we have this full opportunity of the positive, and no one's actually saying that it can't happen except for ourselves? So always keep that in mind. So, because manifestation is all about sitting in the unknown, right? Our 3D is going to show us whatever because we are persisting in the invisible or the imagination until it becomes visible in our conscious reality. That's like any manifestation, actually any goal for that matter. You don't even have to think of it as a manifestation, is going to be persistent in the invisible or the imagination until it becomes visible in our conscious reality. Think about playing guitar. I use that example all the time. Learning a new language, starting a hobby, getting a new job, starting your career, getting your dream job, right? All of that, making $1 million. All of that is invisible in your imagination before it becomes visible. Like literally every single thing. And so remember, any assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact. That's a Neville Goddard idea, right? And so this is always happening. So whenever we feel into those negative thoughts or those negative states, remember, you are picking and choosing the outcome you want based on what we're assuming. So don't let anything in your external reality, any negative thinking, convince you that anything you're doing is incorrect. Because if we're feeling good, we're feeling in the state, then everything is perfect. Basically, in these states, when we're focusing on the 3D, we get into a state of just surviving. Okay, we feel I just need to survive. I just need to get through it. But we want to shift that thinking from a state of surviving into a state or feeling of thriving. Why can't we be thriving instead of surviving? So now, to put us into a state of thriving instead of surviving, we actually want to think of a very easy, effortless idea in basically comparing extrinsic motivation versus intrinsic motivation. And maybe you've heard those terms before, but extrinsic motivation just means motivation from the outside. Okay, external, extrinsic. Intrinsic motivation means motivation from the inside. Intrinsic, internal. Okay, so extrinsic is 3D, intrinsic is imagination. And one of those, whatever our goal is or wherever we are putting the most attention, that's what we're going to focus on. And anytime, I'll tell you this, anytime we have extrinsic motivations, we end up focusing too much on the 3D, and that gives us anxiety, worry, and fear. And we actually manifest more time. I know in our previous one we talked about time, but we're going to basically create more time and not feel good, right? Think of the date idea. We were in the state of manifesting a date, but because we weren't getting the results we wanted, that's when we started freaking out and trying to basically demolish or self-destruct the whole situation when everything was going good. Because we have extrinsic motivation, we're only focusing on, we are only doing good if I'm seeing it, but you're doing good if you are doing good, right? And it's all about our internal state. And so think about it in this way. If you have a Hawaiian vacation coming up, so let's say in a month, you have a Hawaiian vacation. You're like, I want to get a six pack. I want to be in shape for this vacation. Then we are going to start working out, right? But this is an extrinsic motivator. As soon as we get to this vacation, we're basically gonna cease to work out, cease to be healthy, right? All of the motivations and the state that we were in was temporary, and we're gonna jump right back into our previous state. But so instead, if we focus it on health, on being abundantly healthy along the way, then as we're going to have our six pack or whatever, be in shape for our Hawaiian vacation, but then we're going to continue. So basically, intrinsic motivation actually creates a state change, whereas extrinsic motivation creates a temporary state change. And so think about this, and this is going to be something that might be kind of mind-blowing. But so then if we have extrinsic motivation, thinking I'm doing my affirmations, feeling good, feeling confident to be with my specific person, as soon as we get with them or get into a relationship or whatever our goal is, we're basically gonna go, oh my gosh, now I can relax and let go of this temporary state, and then we're going to manifest less than positive things, okay? Because we're not fully in the state, okay? Because once you're in the state, the healing is done and you don't have to do anything. But when we are having extrinsic motivations, then unless we create another one right then and there, we're going to be continuously striving and trying to achieve something new. So basically, you've probably seen this before in yourself, your own relationships with your specific person, or in other people's relationships with their specific person, where they basically manifest them, get together with them, and then it kind of self-destructs and goes a way that we don't want. And then this can also, another reason why on and off relationships can actually manifest. But so again, what we want to focus on is extrinsic motivation, are texts, calls, dates, things like that, which are good. We want those. But we want the focus to be intrinsic to have these be everlasting successes. So the intrinsic motivation is love, abundance, positivity. Because the funny thing is, we would not want our end state if it didn't contain any of our intrinsic values, but contained all of our extrinsic values. Like, would you be okay with your specific person receiving texts, calls, and dates, but feeling sad, unloved, and desperate the whole time? No, you would not make that trade. But would you feel loved, abundant, and positive even if you weren't getting as many texts, calls, or dates? What about that? We'd be like, yes, I'll take that trade all the time. So we need to remember the actual motivation that's creating or basically putting us into our end state. It's not the 3D. It is our feeling that is making that change. So allow the feeling of the wish fulfilled to be your motivation, okay? That love, abundance, happiness, confidence. Don't do it for this external reality, because I know it feels like we're doing it that way, but truly, it's all about the wish fulfilled. That's what we're focusing on. That's what we're creating, and that's what we're going to get, okay? So when we focus on that, then we receive what we want in the quickest and easiest possible way. I know we just talked about time, and this is another way to really get into the state. It's kind of like how sometimes when we go into techniques and we go into our affirmations, our journaling, our visualizations, and then we instantly look or come out of it and go, okay, where's my results? But that is pulling us out of the state because we are then only focused on the results, which means we didn't feel as if we had it. Okay, making sense? And so I'll include a quick little success story. This one's like a really super simple, super easy one. Nothing too crazy, but it did come from my email coaching. And so I'll put it up, and I know it seems really simple, really easy. All they wrote was, "Hi, it is. This week I spent the night with him. It was lovely. He's very loving when we're together." So basically, I tried to get an email that encompassed them like exchanging or moving into this positive feeling of abundance, switching their mindset from the 3D onto their intrinsic internal feeling. And so remember, it doesn't matter. The reason that I included this really like simple one is just because I wanted to tell you more about their limiting beliefs. So they were in no contact. They had the thought that love and relationships are just automatically complicated. Again, all this 3D stuff. They felt the need that they had to convince their specific person to choose them, that they had to act in their 3D, okay? They also had the fear in the 3D of not being good enough. They also had a 3D fear of abandonment and rejection. And all of these, they thought that all of this is always going to repeat. So these relationship patterns that they had occurred are always going to be repeating. So again, no contact, everything's complicated. We have to convince people we're not good enough. We have fears of abandonment, rejection, and that this is always going to repeat. And they went from all of that to this. So spending the night with their specific person, having a lovely, amazing time in less than 3 weeks. Okay? Less than 3 weeks. They went from all that to totally changing their reality. And I know it wasn't a good email to fully express it, but other emails had too much personal information in there, and I didn't want to include all of that. Obviously, we know exactly why. But that's the power that you have in your reality to change it. And again, I wouldn't even worry about time, because when you're feeling good, when you're having fun, when you're feeling loved, abundant, and positive, time just flies by automatically. You don't have to worry about it. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to do, right? When you're feeling good, everything is perfect. What's the point of getting, I know I said this in my previous video about time as well, but what's the point of getting everything you want if you don't feel good? And manifestation is about feeling good, feeling abundant, feeling positive, feeling magnificent during the process. So always keep that in mind every single step of the way. If you did have any questions, make sure to comment them down below. Remember, if you have not already, comment that intention. I am in alignment with my desires, allowing them to manifest quickly. Comment that. I'll say it kind of slower. I am in alignment with my desires, allowing them to manifest quickly. Set that intention right here and right now, because we are at the midway point of everything that's happening. Again, always want to say, if you did have any questions, leave them down below. But also remember, you can reach out to me at kyleaugustcoaching.com if you did want to reach me personally. I absolutely love to hear all of your successes, worries, anxieties, fears. Send me all of your anxieties, your worries, and I'll completely make them cease to exist. As well, remember, all my members, keep watching, keep utilizing the daily affirmation, journaling prompt, and visualization, as well as the guided meditation that we do every day. If that is something that you wanted to hop into, definitely follow the link down below. I think it's absolutely crazy awesome. And again, with each weekend, we've been meeting up for a session. So this Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be meeting up. Last weekend, it was Saturday, but now we're keeping it back to Sunday. So 1 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday, we're meeting up live with all the members, as well as make sure everyone, comment your thoughts, your feelings. If you haven't seen the days 1 through 6, definitely check them out because it is really important. If you have not seen those yet, definitely go back and check out days 1 through 6. Obviously, you can look at each day as you want, but I did set these up in a particular order, so always keep that in mind. So comment all of your thoughts. We're halfway through to Valentine's Day. Let me know your thoughts, ideas, beliefs. If for all my members, go over to the membership tab and start commenting. If I remember, December, I'll be able to make a post that's like just checking in with everyone. So I'll comment that. If not, though, feel free to comment on any of the other posts and just let me know questions, comments, ideas, and we'll be checking in our lives anyway. So thank you so much for stopping by today. I'm so glad to be on this process and this journey with you. We're halfway there. So get into this feeling, get into this state. If you're feeling worried, that's okay. Just let me know. Okay. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll see you in day 8 tomorrow.